Money, money, money. Money makes the world go round. Money is the root of all evil. How do we actually have a breakthrough and actually be spiritual and claim our birthright of prosperity and money, 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 money? Let's do this thing. If you are somebody who is ready to have a breakthrough in money, you are tired of your money story, you are ready to get to the next level, you definitely want to listen to this podcast. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hi there, I'm Dr. Erin, Doctor of Divinity and Master Spiritual Coach. And today I want to break on down money blocks. How do we actually deal with this from a soul perspective? How do we deal with this from spiritual psychology? How do we deal with soul clearing, recognizing that the soul is just here for us to awaken to the truth of who we are? So if you are new to this podcast, I come here weekly for a soul work weekly update. Money, money, money. Money makes the world go round. Money is the root of all evil. What is money? How do we actually have the breakthrough? How do we actually go past all of our limited story, the way our parents taught us, the programming of the culture, and get to the next level? If you are ready for a breakthrough around your money blocks, you definitely want to listen to this podcast. And I want to first just share a little bit about my personal story. If you know me at all, I have talked a lot about money over the course of my life. I came from what I call rich dad, poor mom. My parents were divorced. My mother was definitely in lack. We used to go to the thrift store. There was a lot of crying around money, a lot of victim story around money. And when I was with my father, there was a lot of opulence and whatever. And yet he was losing all of his money. So for me, I grew up with a very scarce concept of what money was. It was all about security. And if you didn't have it, you weren't secure. My grandmother had money, but she was very frugal. So we would constantly like clip coupons even when we were with her. And she was, in my opinion, with somebody that she wasn't even in love with. She rather was there for security reasons. So for me, my entire life was really a lot of fear-based around money. So even today, I have to really catch myself. Here I am in Miami. I'm in a five-star hotel for the month as I transition over here. And I'm kind of pinching myself like, wow, I came from somebody who had no money. I went to the thrift store for my son's clothes. And here I am living a life that I really love and that I don't take for granted at all. It has taken me a ton of work to get to where I am. And I have ways to go as well, living on spiritual principle and really going, wow, how do we actually live in a material world, but be spiritual? And where's that balance for each and every one of us? So let's dive into this. So today's call comes in, and it's an interesting conversation. They ask, how do I live in prosperity when I have a lot of credit card debt? And this is imperative. It's called faith, right? That what we have not seen. How do I live in prosperity when my external world is not showing that? Maybe you have very low funds in your, bank account. Maybe you have credit card debt. Maybe you haven't begun to master, turning your love for spirituality into a career. Maybe you're in a job that you hate. Maybe you're in a relationship that you're just staying there because it's safe, monetarily wise as well. No matter what you're going through, this question is imperative because it applies to each and every one of us. So how do you do this? How do you live in prosperity even when you have credit card debt or a situation you're in does not feel very prosperous? You don't have a lot of money. So, as we know in the school, a lot of the work we do is one primary thing, which is shifting the identity. And that's E4. E4 method is something that we go into regressions in current life, past life, and future time compressing. And we take the charge away from mental pictures because the mental pictures of the universe are connected to the soul and the epigenetics of the DNA and to the Akashic records, which is all one thing. So I want to break on down a few things for you here. And it's in the newsletter this week, which is really a soul work conversation we're going to have. We would come together each week to dive into the deeper conversations of spiritual psychology coaching. We tap into a universal law lesson, and we also do affirmative mind treatment, which is AKA scientific prayer. So back to this. So some of the main core work that we do in money blocks is number one that has to happen is the identity shift. Our identity comes from our imprinting, our indoctrination, in from trauma of this lifetime and multiple lifetimes, right? Our ancestor lineage. So the most important thing that we do to have money block breakthroughs is our identity shift. No matter how much someone teaches you of what assets to buy, what real estate to buy, how to get coaching clients, it doesn't matter. What matters is you're not going to be able to energetically have it or keep it or enjoy it if you don't have the identity of abundance. So this is the core work that we do. This has to happen more than anything else. Your energetics, your stuck patterns, your stuck emotions, your false identity. Okay. What I came to believe over my childhood and all the trauma of multiple lifetimes was that money was more powerful than me. I truly believed that money was more powerful than my consciousness, right? It was like I had to get it. I had to try and, manipulate for it or sacrifice for it, or no one would ever care more about me than money. Okay, so everything came down to understanding that I was giving my power away. My identity was considering that money was more powerful than I was, that I wasn't even worthy of it, right? So it was just projecting out and reflecting back over and over again. And I get this through clients, right? Even clients that I work with, big CEOs that are worth millions of dollars, they are constantly in the war of it. They're in, battling for it. They're in manipulating for it. They're in whatever, and therefore they've handed their power over to it. Okay, so number one is we have to shift the identity. Number one thing, and we do that through E4 regression work primarily. It's a core work. The second thing that we have to do is we have to stop giving our power away to money. Has to happen. So the metaphysical truth or the spiritual truth of money is that the extent to which we hand our power over to it or we perceive that it's more powerful than us, that we actually instantaneously become disempowered. So we have to stop giving our power away, whether that be through getting your mind right in prayer, whether that be through doing, whatever it is, stop giving your power away to money, whatever that is, in a spiritual practice, in doing everything. Number three is clearing up energetics. So we want to make sure that we're doing our amends. We want to make sure that we're living in our truth. Just because our culture says, hey, this is what success looks like, or this is what, money, how much money you need, that's not true. When I'm working with a client or in the school, we're birthing people's truth. Okay. So what is success to you? What is being rich to you? Right? Forget what your parents said, forget what the culture told you. We have to birth your truth, okay? So doing your identity work, right? And then making sure you're not handing your power over to money. And then three, which is amends, clearing up your energy. Sometimes people can't have money because they've misused it or harmed people with it, and in past lives as well. I know for me, my mother's side of the family was very, very poor, indigenous, and my father's side of the family was actually the opposite. They were very, very wealthy, and they actually probably, I don't know, I'm assuming they had slaves and things, right? At some point in time in history. So you have to understand both energetics need to evolve. Both energetics of my lineage need to be in ethics and be able to get to a place where it's from abundance and for the highest good, right? Okay. So number four is tapping into truth. We have to tap into truth. The truth is there is only abundance in the universe, and money is literally just the exchange of energy. Money is just a symbol that we've chosen to represent. And by the way, money is manipulated by the feds, it's manipulated by whatever. It's an ever evolving symbol of money. It changes, it depreciates. It depreciates, okay? So we have to know the truth, and this is so imperative. So the question about someone calling in and saying, "Hey, how do I stay in abundance when I have a bunch of credit card debt?" So the truth is that if you're in truth, if you're in right mind, you are not just like delusional and being like, oh, whatever, I'll just, manifest whatever. That's great. But we still accept. We accept what our choices that we've made in the past. We're not delusional. We accept it, but we also know our past does not define our future. And then we have to ask, okay, so if I'm going to stay in prosperity and I'm deciding this credit card is going to be paid off, I don't know how. I'm going to release the how, but I'm going to ask and get my mind and go, who do I need to become the mental equivalent of somebody who does not have debt or that has, assets or is able to generate endless money and prosperity. So I'm going to know I'm deciding. I am doing affirmative mind treatments. I'm doing declarations. I am deciding and I'm asking myself, who do I need to be in my mindset and my skill set to pay off this debt? I'm not going to focus on the shaming and the blaming and the judging and being in scarcity, like, oh my gosh, I have all this debt. I can never, it's scary. Instead, I'm going to focus on the truth that no matter what I put my mind to, I am an all-powerful, all-knowing spiritual being. And this is the truth. Source, show me the way. Show me the way to pay off this credit card. Show me the way to infinitely create exponentially. Source within me, God source within me. Show me the way. I'm going to focus on right mind. I'm going to focus on possibility. I'm going to focus on miracles. I'm going to ask every single day, who do I need to become in my mindset and in my skill set to become somebody who has unlimited money? And that's what we're all up to. It's a game of energy. It's a game of embodiment, not just for me to get a bunch of material things, for me to become somebody that has a rich life beyond just getting things for me, but serving for the highest good. It takes money to build a company that is working to help people evolve and do their soul work. It takes money to have technology and platforms and things. It takes money because money is the exchange of love. Money is exchange of love, okay? So in that, one of the questions that I always ask myself that really helps me is, if money was of no object, what would I create? If money was of no object, what would I do and what would I have? And that for me is the divine appointment for me to rise to the full embodiment of abundance and money. Not frivolous, not whatever, but if money was of no object, what would I authentically, truly desire for myself? What would I authentically want to do and give to the world? What legacy would I want to live? What service, what soul's assignment would I want to do and have that for the world? And so on that, I'm knowing universal law of the week, which is a law of eternality. If you don't already have the free universal law calendar, you can grab it below. Stay on principle each week. Come to this soul work every week and get your mind right and do your work every single week. Staying in right mind and knowing that we are here to direct energy upon mind for demonstrations, for manifestation. So this week's law is the law of eternality, which is live like you're dying. And think about it. If you were dying, you wouldn't just go buy a bunch of, shoes, designer shoes. Maybe you would. But if you were living like you were dying from a money perspective, right? Maybe you would want to leave a legacy. Maybe you would want to make it right where you've misused money, right? You would buy the experiences and the things and the gifts you want to leave the world and in your consciousness. So you can pick that up, read all about the law of eternality. The true essence has no beginning or end because it is who you are, which is ceaseless, which is unlimited. You are eternal and immortal being. You are here to bring the gifts. So let's bring this together. Take a deep breath in. I recognize right here, right now, the truth of this infinite source of money, aka energy in exchange. I recognize that this is the divine nature of life. It is abundant, it is prosperous, and it is unlimited. I recognize the truth of who I am is the consciousness, the source, the I am behind the money, and I'm moving energy upon universal law for infinite movement of energy, which is money, which is service and devotion and giving and receiving. I recognize this infinite flow as me. I recognize that money is simply a symbol of the exchange of love. And love is who I am. I recognize this in my ability to innovate and invention and my ability to serve and bring value exponentially. I recognize with giving and receiving from source within, the only place that I receive is from source within. And I infinitely give this source, this love, this value, this service to the world, and it reflects back endlessly. I recognize money is an exchange of energy. It's a currency of energy. And I am the currency. I am the consciousness. I am that which gives exponentially the truth of who I am. And so I release all lack, all scarcity. I release and know that no matter what my situation, no matter how much money is in my bank account or lack of money, no matter if I have credit card debt or don't have credit card debt, I recognize there's always solution. There's a solution and there is an exponential generation of all money because it is the I am. It is God's source and there is not a budget. The universe and God's source is not on a budget. And so I recognize no matter what, I can awaken that truth of abundance within me right here and right now. And I know this for each and everyone listening right here, right now. It is my birthright. I claim it now and I claim it for each and everyone here. As together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, you guys, if you haven't already grabbed the Universal Law calendar there, you can come on here every week. If you have noticed, we are doing a soul work, weekly soul work here. I have chosen to no longer do the astrology. It was something that I brought in just because I love seeing sometimes the energy updates and it really refers to universal law. But the one thing that I'm finding with astrology over and over, it's really teaching the same thing over and over. And if you understand spiritual principle, you understand universal law, you understand the psychology of the soul and the awakening, the principles are the same. It doesn't matter what's happening astrologically, honestly. So it's just not my core thing. My core thing here we go over is soul work. We go over the spiritual psychology coaching. We go over universal law and we go over spiritual mind treatment. That's the most important thing. You can binge these all the time, get your mind right every week. These are evergreen. They're not just this week, right? They're things, they're principles you can use forever. Okay. So share it out with a friend. Make sure you're getting your mind right. Don't have people in your inner circle that are complaining, gossiping, being the victim of things. If they are, refer them here. Let's get our mind right together. You are here to master energy. That's what you are. You're a spiritual being choosing and experiencing the depths of your soul and form. Have a beautiful, blessed day, you guys. You can also come into spiritual psychology school, get certified and accredited E4 and universal law. You can also come into our community, Society, and just come in there and get your mind right all the time, do your inner work, and have a beautiful, blessed day, you guys. May you live your truth.